You remember that moment. You weren't just praying. You were begging. On your knees, face down, tears you didn't even plan on crying. You gave God everything, your fear, your desperation, the last bit of faith you had left. And he said, nothing. No still small voice, no peace, no sign, just silence. Cold, heavy, unbearable. And in that silence, one thought crept in that you've never said out loud. Was he even there? I know that thought. I've had it too. There was a season in my life when I prayed every single day for months, and things got worse, not better, worse. I remember sitting in my car in a parking lot, unable to walk into my own house, thinking, if God is real and God is good, then what? Is this silence? If you've ever been in that parking lot, not the physical one, but the one inside, this video is for you. We're not going to say, just trust God. We're going to walk straight into the center of that silence, and what you find there will change everything. There are things nobody in church wants to say out loud. That sometimes God feels dead. That sometimes prayer feels like sending a message that never gets delivered. That sometimes you look at your life, everything that fell apart, everyone you lost, and you think, if he was really there, would any of this have happened? But the worst part isn't the pain. The worst part is the loneliness inside the pain. Everyone around you seems fine. They're singing, they're raising their hands, they're posting about breakthroughs, and you're sitting there thinking, what is wrong with me? Why does God speak to everyone else and go silent with me? So you land on one of two conclusions. Either God isn't real or I'm not good enough for him to answer. Both of those are destroying you, and both of them are a lie. Psalm 22, verse 1. Read it slowly. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? So far from my cries of anguish? Stop. Do you know who said that? Not a doubter, not someone losing their faith. Those are the exact words of Jesus Christ on the cross. Matthew 27:46. He quotes this psalm in the darkest second of his entire existence. The Son of God, the one who healed the sick, who raised the dead, who walked on water. In his worst moment, he cried out, "Why are you silent?" Let that land. If Jesus screamed that, then feeling this way is not weak faith. It's not failure. It's not a sign he left you. It means you are human, fully, painfully, honestly human. But don't stop there. Same Psalm, verse 24. He has not despised or scorned the suffering of the afflicted one. He has not hidden his face from him, but has listened to his cry for help. Same pain, different conclusion. Not God was silent, but he heard every single word. Joseph, Genesis 37, 17 years old, thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. Years pass. No angel, no voice from heaven, no explanation. Just silence. Year after year after year. You know what the Bible never records Joseph saying? God told me. This was the plan. He had nothing. Just the pit, just the prison, just the silence. And that silence, was God's most active season in his life. Every unfair moment was a precise step towards something that would save thousands of lives. But Joseph didn't know that. Joseph felt exactly what you're feeling right now. Ask yourself one question. What if silence isn't absence? What if silence is the sound of God building something too big to explain while it's happening? Here's where most of us get it wrong. We read silence as an answer. No voice. Nobody's there. No feeling. He's gone. But think about a surgeon. When he's operating, he goes quiet. He doesn't narrate every cut. He doesn't explain each move to the patient. He goes silent and works. And in that silence is when the most important thing is happening. Romans 8:26. The Spirit Himself intercedes for us, with groans that words cannot express. When you can't even form a prayer, the Spirit is praying for you. You were never alone in that room, not for 1 second. Think back to your darkest season. Was there one moment that held you? One phone call at exactly the right time? One door that stayed open when everything else closed? That's not coincidence. Psalm 77:19. Your path led through the sea, your way through the mighty waters, though your footprints were not seen. He was moving, just without leaving visible tracks. David screamed at God in the Psalms. He accused, he demanded answers, he wept. And God called him a man after his own heart. God is not fragile. He doesn't need your pretty words. He wants your real ones. Bring him the anger, bring him the confusion, bring him the "where were you?" because that honest cry is closer to real faith than any performance of peace you're faking right now. John 11. Lazarus is dead. Martha runs to Jesus and says, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." She's not being polite. She's in pain. She's basically saying, "Where were you?" And Jesus doesn't defend himself. He doesn't explain the plan. He doesn't say, "Martha, trust the process." He weeps. Verse 35, the shortest verse in the entire Bible. Jesus wept. He cried with her, knowing that in 5 minutes he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead. Knowing the ending, he stopped and felt the full weight of her moment. Do you hear that? He was in your parking lot, sitting right there with you, not distant, not indifferent. Right there, weeping with you. The silence you heard was not emptiness. It was depth that no words could fill. You thought he was quiet. He was building. You thought he was gone. He was holding you so tightly that you never hit the ground. You just didn't notice because you never fully fell. And if you're still here today, if you made it through that season, you already have your answer. It just didn't come in the form you expected. The darkest moment of your life is not the place where God abandoned you. It's the place where He held you the hardest. Right now. Type "He was there" in the comments. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. Because writing those words is you telling your own heart that silence was not abandonment. It was the sound of something being built. And if you know someone who is in that parking lot right now, someone who is praying and hearing nothing, send them this video, because sometimes God answers someone's prayer through you. I'll see you in the next one.